There's somebody in the backyard doing something with a pot and fire, and I can't quite figure it out. Hopped over the back fence. He is now sitting over the back fence on Modesto.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Mr. O'Neal.
All right.
Listen, stop.
All right.
Listen to me.
I'm not
going to raise your voice again.
I'm not going to raise my voice again. I'm not.
I will have you removed from this courtroom. I can sentence you without you being present.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't conduct
I
yourself.
understand, Your Honor.
Thank you.
But I will say, I'm sorry for your loss.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do. Hold on. So after everything, after the fire, after the bodies, after your own child survives, that's what you say? Make it make sense. Because this story doesn't start in a courtroom. It starts with a phone call, a woman, crying, struggling to breathe, trying to stay alive. I'm so sorry, Ronnie. And then a shotgun blast cuts through the line. Just like that, no warning, no pause. And from that moment on, nothing about that night was normal. Kenyatta Barron was a mother before anything else. Everything in her life revolved around her kids. Her daughter, Ron Nevaeh, was 9 years old and lived with cerebral palsy. She couldn't walk, she couldn't speak. She depended on someone being there for her at all times. And Kenyatta was always there. Her son, Ronnie IV, was 8. Old enough to notice things. Old enough to feel when something in the house wasn't right. And then there was Ronnie O'Neal, loud, intense, always had something to say. From the outside, it might not have looked like anything unusual, just another household trying to make things work. But inside, the energy was different. Arguments didn't stay small. Tension didn't just pass. And when things shifted, they shifted fast. There were signs, the kind people ignore because nothing has happened yet. Raised voices, control, pressure building in ways nobody outside could see clearly. Until that night made everything visible. It started in the bedroom. One moment, quiet. The next, a shotgun goes off. Kenyatta's hit, but she doesn't stay down. And that matters, because what she does next tells you everything about her. She gets up, she moves, through pain, through shock, through blood. She moves, out of the bedroom, down the hallway. She's not thinking about anything except getting out of that house. Behind her, footsteps, fast, heavy, coming closer. This isn't someone stopping after one shot. This is someone continuing. She reaches the front door, gets it open, and runs into the night. Streetlights on, neighborhood quiet. For a second, it probably felt like she just needed to make it a little further. She runs to a neighbor's house, collapses onto the porch, starts banging on the door. Not knocking, banging. Trying to be seen, trying to be saved. Inside, someone wakes up, looks out the window, and what they see stays with them forever. A woman covered in blood, barely holding on, and then someone steps into frame behind her. Ronnie O'Neal. He caught up. No hesitation, no slowing down. What happens next isn't quick, it isn't chaotic, it's controlled. And the person watching from inside that house realizes something immediately. This is not stopping on its own. But while all of this is happening outside, inside that house, 2 children are still there, one can't move. The other is hiding, and what's coming next is worse. Inside the house, everything is quiet for a moment. Too quiet. Ron Nevaeh is still in her bed. She cannot run, she cannot call for help, she cannot do anything except stay exactly where she is. And that's exactly where he goes. What happens in that room is not confusion, it is not panic, it is direct. He uses a hatchet, multiple strikes, no hesitation, no pause. And then he leaves. In another part of the house, Ronnie IV is hiding, watching, trying to understand what is happening around him. His father finds him, and now the focus shifts. The same person who was supposed to protect him turns on him. He is stabbed multiple times, deep enough to end a life, but somehow it doesn't. Then something else happens. Gasoline poured through the house, on the floors, in the rooms, the smell fills the air, and then fire! The house starts to burn, Fast, smoke builds, heat rises. This is no longer just violence. Now it's destruction. And in the middle of it, an 8-year-old boy is still alive. Outside, officers arrive to a scene that doesn't look real. The house is already in flames, fire pushing out through windows, glass breaking, smoke everywhere, and then Ronnie O'Neal walks out. Not running, not panicking, just walking. Hands up, still talking, still saying things that don't match what just happened. Officers take him down, but their attention shifts immediately, because through the smoke, something is moving. A small figure. It's the boy, Ronnie the Fourth, burned, injured, barely holding himself up, but walking. Officers rush to him, and when they get close, they realize how bad it is. Stab wounds, burns, gasoline on his body, and somehow, he is still conscious, still able to speak. My daddy killed my mommy. That sentence changes everything. Inside the house, firefighters push through the flames, room by room, careful, slow, until they find her, Ron Nevaeh, still in bed. She never had a chance. As the fire is put out, investigators begin their work. And even with the damage, the story is still there. Shotgun in the bedroom, blood trail leading out of the house, patterns showing movement, struggle, collapse. Across the street, more evidence. Where Kenyatta fell, where it ended. Footprints, matching the man already in custody. Inside again, multiple fire starting points. This was not accidental. This was set. And then the hatchet is found. Burned. But still there. Tested. Confirmed. Everything begins to line up. But at the station, Ronnie O'Neal is still talking. Still claiming things that don't match reality. Still building a story that doesn't hold. There's just one problem. He doesn't know his son survived. And that survivor is already telling the truth. At the hospital, Ronnie the Fourth is fighting to stay alive. Burns, stab wounds, trauma that should have taken him out. But he holds on, and when he speaks, everything becomes clear. He explains what happened in simple terms. No confusion, no exaggeration, just truth. That becomes the foundation of the case. Ronnie O'Neal is charged. 2 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder, arson, and then, something unexpected, he decides to represent himself. No lawyer, no filter, just him. Court becomes something else entirely. Instead of quiet arguments and legal strategy, it turns loud, unpredictable. He interrupts, he argues, he tries to control the room, but the evidence doesn't change. And then comes the moment no one can ignore. His son takes the stand, now older, stronger, but still the same child who survived that night. And because O'Neal is representing himself, he has the right to question him. He stands in front of his own son, asks questions, tries to shift blame, tries to create doubt. But it doesn't work. The answers stay steady, clear, direct. And
our affiliate, WFTS in Tampa, has more of this bizarre case, everything that happened today inside that courtroom.
Were you able to draw any conclusions on whether I committed any murder in this case?
Yes, that's why I arrested you.
Without hesitation, Tom Dirks, the lead detective in the 2018 double murder case, doubled down on his decision to take Ronnie O'Neal into custody.
Did you say that I didn't kill Kenyatta Barron in self-defense?
I'm not going to say that, no. I arrested you for her murder.
Detective Dirks was the last witness called by the state. It was then O'Neal's chance to call witnesses to the stand. He had 3, and his defense only lasted 30 minutes. We were told by the judge to not show the faces of 2 of them. A young neighbor who says he saw what happened outside that night through a bedroom window, and the mother of another child O'Neal fathered a few years ago.
And he stood over her, did this like striking thing like 3 times, and he shot her.
And how many times is that again?
3.
3 times. And you're sure about that, right?
Positive.
Positive. You've seen 3 strikes.
Positive.
When the mother took the stand, O'Neal asked her to confirm she and Kenyatta Barron were fighting a few weeks prior to the murders.
Yes, we were. We never got along, at all.
His third witness was a Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputy who pulled 911 dispatch records but did not review them. Throughout this entire trial, O'Neal has focused heavily on the cell phone records and seemed to be trying to convey that a 911 call he made was missing.
Do you see a call at 3:52?
No, I don't.
I wonder why that is.
Okay, again, you're just here to ask questions, not make comments. What's your next question of the witness?
I have no more questions because we're really done talking.
That witness was excused, and when the judge asked if he had any other witnesses to call, he said,
Not at this time, y'all.
Well, now's the time.
Well, not really, but.
It's it's a bit of a mess, but this is the way our system works. You've got a defendant who wants to represent himself. He gets to represent himself.
The evidence is going to show that I called 911 during Kenyatta Barron's 911 call. But all of a sudden, it ends up after I called Kenyatta, after Kenyatta Barron's call was made. Now I'm calling 911. But originally, I called 911 without even knowing she called 911 during her call. But the evidence is going to show that your representatives and law enforcement, local law enforcement, wanted to make it seem like I'm some kind of menace to society. And I ran after killing Kenyatta Barron, knowing that authority was on the way to kill my own children. I wonder why I would do something like that for no reason. And I'm standing here competent as can be, representing myself today. Anything that I may have said, they exacerbated it and made me say it consecutively over and over like Allahu Akbar, which I may have said once or twice, but they wanted to make me seem like a terrorist, and so you hear it 8 or 9 times, and you hear me calling Kenyatta Barron a bitch and a whore.
Mr. O'Neal, any questions?
How you doing, Ronnie?
Good.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Did you see me shoot your mom?
No.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
In that moment, everything shifts. The performance stops mattering. The truth is already there. The jury doesn't take long. Guilty on all counts, no confusion, no hesitation. Just a clear decision based on everything they saw and heard. And just like that, it's over.
Part of you that can be very charming and very likable. And with all due deference to your counsel, they're all excellent lawyers. But I have to tell you, I think that your representation of yourself also aided in saving you from the death penalty. I really do. I really think that. I could be wrong, but that's just my best guess. However, well, you're welcome, Mr. O'Neal. I'm just telling you the truth as I see it. However, 19 years I've been at this job. I've seen human beings killed at the hands of others in every way imaginable. You name it, I've seen it. Shootings, stabbings, drownings, suffocatings, blown apart by cars in DUI manslaughter cases. Horrible things. This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go. When they fired the person from fire department, when he testified, and when he said that he retrieved the body of Ronnie O'Neal from the home, and all he could do was sob. It took every ounce I had not to start sobbing too, because there is no way any person with any feeling could have witnessed or seen the photos of what occurred that night and not be haunted for the rest of your life. I know I will be. For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted by what I saw as far as the evidence and just the abject cruelty of it all. The abject cruelty. And I was aware, because I reviewed a lot of the discovery ahead of time, as you well know, did a lot of in-camera inspection of a lot of documents. And I was aware there was some evidence, at least, that when you needed to recover from your gunshot wound, that neither your parents nor your Aisha, Ms. Robinson, would let you come recover at their home. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to get into a dispute. I'm just mentioning there was some evidence referencing them in the records. And all I can think about, because I knew that Ms. Barron was not with you romantically at the time. And I knew that she just out of the goodness of her heart let you come stay with her. And it is beyond tragic that that critical decision ended in so much horror for her and for her children. It is unspeakably cruel what happened as a result of that one decision. The way that Ms. Barron died was horrific, and that 911 call, which captured truly all of it. You heard, and everyone who's heard that 911 call, heard a death scream. If anybody ever wants to know what it sounds like before a human being dies, knowing that their death is imminent, that's exactly what it is. That was a death scream. But what happened to little Ronivia and to little Ronnie, but I'm going to focus on Ronivia because she was special. And you can tell Miss Barron had done everything she could to create a beautiful home for her family. I noticed that the Ronivia's bedroom, before you set it on fire, you could tell she tried so hard to make her feel like a princess. Kenyatta did everything she could. And I noticed too in the kitchen, on the refrigerator, she put up magnets that said faith, love, family, hope. And then you know what else happened at the refrigerator during that night? It got splattered with blood all over it due to what happened. Little Ronivia, she couldn't scream. She couldn't run away. She witnessed what you did to her mother as far as shooting her mother in the arm with the gunshot. She knew. And the horror that that child suffered. And she already had a life where she was born with challenges regarding her physical and her mental disabilities. But the pain and suffering that she suffered that night at your hands, unspeakable, absolutely unspeakable. And at the moment, that first time you struck her with that hatchet, and little Ronnie testified that all he could see was tears coming out of his sister's face. At that moment, that child knew she was being betrayed in the cruelest, most tragic and sorrowful way that a child could ever be betrayed. She was being betrayed by her parent, the one person that should be there to protect their children and love them and keep them from harm. And that was the last thing that child felt before she passed on from this earth. Was your utter, cruel betrayal to her. And I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true or not, I have no idea, but I read somewhere that souls pick their lives and that they know exactly how difficult their lives are going to be before they enter into this world. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, Ronnie O'Neal is one of the bravest souls I have ever come across in my 54 years on this planet. One of the bravest ever, because she suffered so traumatically. So, Mr. McNair, I appreciate your comments about, you still hear maybe behind that pillar. I appreciate your comments about your own sentiments with the legal system, and I would never tell you it's perfect. It's not. But I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you, this is the worst case ever in my life, and I have seen some horrors, but this is it. And I'm going to mete out the punishment that I think this case deserves. All right. With that, on count one, Mr. O'Neal, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison with a minimum mandatory of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Count two, I will adjudicate you guilty, and adjudicate you guilty on count one as well. Count two, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole, consecutive to count one. On count three, I'm going to sentence you on the attempted murder, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison, running consecutive to counts 2 and consecutive to count 1. On count 4, on the arson, first-degree dwelling, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 years Florida State Prison to run consecutive to counts 1, 2, and 3. On count 5, aggravated child abuse, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 years in the Florida State Prison to run consecutive to counts 1 through 4. On count 6, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty to aggravated child abuse, sentence you to 30 years in prison to run consecutive to counts 1 through 5. And on count 7, resisting arrest without violence, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served. Credit for time served is 1,224 days. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court. Thank you. We're concluded.
But the story doesn't end with him. It stays with the people who didn't make it out. And the one who did. A child who walked through fire and still stood up to tell the truth. Make it make sense, because some stories don't need extra words. They just need to be told exactly as they happened.
Ronnie was just 9 years old when he witnessed the unthinkable. His father savagely murdered his mother and sister. The horror from that day was captured in a 911 call as Mom begged for her life.
I remember feeling scared, not knowing what was going on, why this was happening.
Then his father, Ronnie O'Neal III, turned on the youngster, stabbing him 20 times and setting him on fire.
He has to be a miracle. The fact that the injuries that he sustained and what he went through, there's absolutely no reason he should be alive.
Hillsborough County, Florida Detective Michael Blair was assigned to investigate.
It was the most gruesome case I'd ever worked.
Ronnie's ordeal was not over. In June, O'Neal was tried for murder.
So you can go over it and take y'all time looking at it yourselves to see whether I'm lying or not.
Acting as his own attorney, he actually cross-examined his own son.
How did I hurt you?
You stabbed me. I stood my ground.
O'Neal was found guilty and was sentenced to life in prison by a judge who could barely hold back her contempt.
I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you, this is the worst case I have ever seen.
For young Ronnie, the emotional and physical scars from that horrific day are slowly healing.
Dear Lord, thank you for this food.
And now this story takes a remarkable turn. Ronnie has been adopted by Detective Blair and his wife, Danielle. He is their 6th child.
I did know that I would love to be his mom. He's a joy to have around the house.
Today, Ronnie is thriving.
He's just a little brother now.
And Detective Blair can only look back in awe, recalling that first time in the hospital when he met a little boy under the most horrific of circumstances.
I had no idea going into it that I was about to meet my future son.
Thank you for watching this episode of Gridline Crimes. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new case. Your support helps us continue bringing you real crime stories, detailed investigations, and gripping cases from around the world. Let me know your thoughts about this case in the comments below. And remember, the truth always leaves a trail. See you in the next episode of Gridline Crimes.